Most people believe aging is an inevitable clock, but in the lab, we see two different failures: the intrinsic genetic countdown and the extrinsic environmental crash, responsible for 90% of your visible aging.
Welcome to the autopsy of the biological machine. Today, we decode the physics of structural decay, energy failure, and software corruption to see if we can actually reboot the system. Science first, hype second.
Our hardware is designed to last, but after adulthood, we lose 1% of our structural collagen every single year. It is a slow, steady erosion of the very foundation that keeps your skin resilient.
The real accelerator is the silent strike of UV light. UVB rays don't just burn, they directly damage your DNA, while UVA rays penetrate deep, activating molecular chainsaws called MMP enzymes. These MMP enzymes are programmed to recycle old proteins, but UV light turns them into a destructive force, fragmenting healthy collagen and leaving the matrix in ruins. In the photoaging crash, your body tries to repair the damage, but it fails. Instead of healthy fibers, it accumulates a yellow amorphous mass called solar elastosis. It's like replacing steel with useless foam. Your defense relies on a vitamin shield, but it is shockingly fragile. A single suberythematous UV dose, one that doesn't even turn you red, can deplete your vitamin E protection by 50%. Then comes the invisible thief, ozone. It doesn't heat your skin, but it induces direct lipid peroxidation, cracking your waterproof seal and exhausting your antioxidants before you ever feel the sun. As the hardware fails, the powerhouse begins to stall. Your mitochondria are the engines of repair, but UV light induces mutations in their DNA, creating a defective powerhouse cycle. A defective powerhouse doesn't just lose efficiency, it leaks toxic smoke, reactive oxygen species. This chronic oxidative stress poisons the cell from within, accelerating the system's entropy. This leads to glycation. Think of it as structural caramelization. Sugar reacts with your proteins, forming AGEs that weld your flexible collagen cables together until they become rigid and brittle. Once caramelized, the skin can no longer hold moisture. This is why aged skin feels like leather. It is a physical failure of the barrier lipids and the natural moisturizing factors. Now we reach the software failure, the telomeres. These are the protective caps on the ends of your chromosomes. Think of them as the plastic aglets at the end of a shoelace. Every time your cells divide, these caps shorten. When they become too short, the cell sounds the alarm. It enters senescence. It stops dividing and essentially becomes a zombie cell. These zombie cells don't just stop working, they release inflammatory signals that infect healthy neighbors. This inflamed aging creates a chronic fire that degrades the dermal matrix. The result is dermatoporose, a thinning so extreme the skin becomes transparent and tears like paper. The exchange of nutrients between layers is cut off as the junction flattens. Your pigment system also fails. While overall melanocytes decrease by 10% per decade, local inkjet printers go into overdrive, creating age spots and uneven mosaics of damage. So how do we engineer a reboot? Marketing sells miracles, but we look for system patches. The first is prevention. Photoprotection is the only true way to stop 90% of the crash. Next is the gold standard patch, retinoids. They are molecular messengers that enter the nucleus to stimulate new collagen synthesis and normalize the cell's software update. Then we have the biological decoys, peptides. Like Matrixil, they trick the skin into thinking collagen is destroyed, forcing the workers to build a fresh structural matrix. But beware of the collagen myth. Putting collagen in a cream is like trying to put a whole brick through a keyhole. The molecule is too large to penetrate. It only hydrates the surface.
Real engineering requires beauty from within. Antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin E, and lycopene act as noise cancelers for free radicals, increasing your skin's resistance to UV.
We also use structural acids. AHAs, like glycolic acid, don't just exfoliate. At high concentrations, they can stimulate the production of new collagen and hydration molecules.
The maintenance cycle of the epidermis is slow. It takes 28 days for a young cell to reach the surface, but up to 60 days for an older one. Engineering change requires macro patience. Even facial gymnastics can backfire. Constant muscle contraction is what creates expression lines in the first place. Overworking those muscles can actually deepen the dynamic cracks in your machine.
In advanced cases, we use industrial fillers. Hyaluronic acid injections restore lost volume and fill the structural gaps where the biological machine can no longer repair itself. Or we use laser resurfacing, a controlled destruction of the old, damaged hardware to force the system to trigger an emergency high-speed regeneration. The inflame aging cycle is the final enemy. Chronic inflammation from stress, pollution, and poor nutrition keeps the machine in a state of constant emergency, burning through its repair budget.
To stop the fire, we use system mutes. Ingredients like green tea and vitamin C act as anti-fire signals, silencing the MAPK pathways that order collagen destruction.
Remember, moisturizers are not anti-aging. They smooth the surface for a temporary glow, but they do not stop the biological failure of the structural cables.
The hardware of your skin, the collagen, must be protected before it is lost. Once the Maillard bridges of glycation form, the damage is almost impossible to reverse. This is the dermatoporosis stage. The skin becomes so fragile it tears like wet tissue paper. This is the result of a lifetime of maintenance neglect. The system also loses oil. Sebum production drops by 23% per decade. Without this lubricant, the software of the barrier lipids fails and water escapes the machine.
Engineering a solution means signal-to-noise ratio. We want to maximize the repair signal with retinoids and minimize the environmental noise with SPF.
Aging is 360-degree attack. UV, smoke, pollution, and sugar all converge on your DNA. A single product is never a strategy. You need a system-wide defense.
We must also address the telomere alarm. By reducing oxidative stress, we can theoretically delay the moment the cell decides to become a zombie.
Longevity isn't about looking 20 when you are 50. It's about maintaining the hardware and the software so the machine can run efficiently for as long as possible.
Every choice is a rep in the gym. Each protection layer and each repair enzyme increases the probability that your machine will survive the environmental crash.
Your DNA is the blueprint, but you are the lead engineer. Patch the energy, reinforce the structure, and protect the code.
If you enjoyed this video and want to know more about the science behind your skincare products, subscribe to Cosmetoscope channel.